You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit GearHandle.com and use promo code H2O today. This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hey everyone, you're listening to The Public Affair with me, Andrew G. I see someone different every episode, but do me a favor, keep it between us. Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Andrew G, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Public Affair. Now, I'm definitely taking a different direction on this episode of the show. I definitely want to cater this to the ladies, to the women, to the mothers, to the aspiring mothers, everybody, because I feel like I owe that to you guys. You know, I try to strive for diversity on the show. And I feel like I don't have a lot of episodes for the moms. You know what I mean? Like, the show's for everybody, but I really wanted this one to be that one. So I'm super excited to have my next guest on here. Now, before we continue with all that, though, I definitely want to use this opportunity, of course, to thank Rogue Media Network, my boy Mike Hamilton. Mike has been with me since the beginning, since we were in the closet producing this episode of The Public Affair. Yeah, since Franklin. Don't play with me, okay? We're grassroots here at The Public Affair, darling. That's right. And of course, to all of you guys, thank you again so much for all the love and support that you continue to show me in the show. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I have to give a huge shout out real quick to Joseph Hester, with the Business Locksmith podcast, or business, whatever he does. All I know is that he's hot, and he gave me the Snoop Dogg wine that me and my girl Kennisha are drinking on this episode, because after the conversation that I think we're about to have, we're going to need several glasses. He might need to buy us another bottle, girl. Okay? No, but before we continue, I definitely want to use this opportunity as well to give a shout out to just a few of our sponsors of this episode of The Public Affair. This episode is brought to us by David Santabanez with Alinea Real Estate. He is the number one sales agent in his office. That's right. He's going to help you buy a home, sell your property. If you don't know how to buy a house, you don't know where to begin, you don't know how to start, hit up my boy David Santabanez. He's going to help you out, okay? So habla español también. There's a reason why he is the number one sales agent in his office, because he's not playing no games, okay? He works all kinds of hours making sure that him and his clients are absolutely satisfied. To David Santabanez, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, you know I gotta give a shout out to my girl, Nika Armstrong. Well, Armstrong's Bayou Cafe. Oh my God, isn't she great? I want her on the show too. I want her. Yes, please, hurry up, Anika. Stop playing with me, okay?
Yes,
listen, and at Armstrong's Bayou Cafe, they are serving the most authentic Cajun cuisine with a wide selection of signature crab cakes, signature pastas, seafood. The pastas, Kennisha, I just want to roll around in them. I want to roll around in them and go on a date or something. They're so delicious. Listen, you guys, go check them out at Union Hall, Union Grove. Anything on their menu is absolute 100% authentic Cajun, and I absolutely am here for it. Anika Armstrong, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, my boy Manny Guerrero at Blue Star RV Services, a mobile RV tech who can fix all RVs, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and so much more. Listen, you guys buy the RVs, they be breaking. They break in like a week, all right? I hate going to the food trucks. You go to the food trucks to order food. The AC's not working no more. Just call Blue Star RV Services. They got you, especially if you guys are under manufacturer warranty. They will make sure that you are saving a penny or two. Follow on Facebook, call the number on screen to Blue Star RV Services. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to Jonathan Garcia with JG's Lawn Service. Listen, I already know them lawns looking a hot mess. And even though it's not as hot outside, that's like one extra chore that we just don't want to mess with, right? Ew, no, just call JG's Lawn Service, okay? No matter where you are, he's going to guarantee you the best service out there, including mowing, weed eating, edging, tree trimming, and so much more. Se habla español también to my boy JG's Lawn Service, Jonathan Garcia. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to Jesse and Tanya Sotomayor with Cheps Pizza and Burgers. You guys, I love the New York style pizzas so much. I love the Mexican hot dogs as a side so much. Yeah, I'm that guy, okay? I love that they have ice cold beer. And I feel like that is a good restaurant for everybody that if you don't know what you want to eat, let's just all go to Cheps. Yes. And everybody gets a little bit of what they want. I absolutely love it, you guys. It's over there, 3125 Belle Meade Drive. You go check them out for their daily lunch specials. They have their dinner menu items that is actually growing as well. To Chef's Pizza and Burger, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. And of course, to Jeff Davis, the Texas car plug at University Mazda Kia, who I just saw right before I got here. You can hit him up to get the best deal. Listen, if you don't got no credit, if you got bad credit, if the man left you and then he left you with some effed up credit, you just hit up my boy Jeff Davis. Just hit up Jeff Davis. Hit up Jeff Davis. He's gonna get you rolling off the lot and something cute. All right, he's got you. No worries. He's gonna get you the best deal as well. To the Texas car plug, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. You got Kennisha. I told you I was gonna behave on the show. I did. I told you I was going to behave. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, you guys, I've done this show for 4 years already. The bitch is tired. He's tired. But no, you want to know what? There's a lot of people that have been waiting a really long time to be on the show, and Kennisha was one of them. She really sat patiently waiting for me to invite her on the podcast, and I've been really watching her do her thing. As you guys can see here, we are covered in a plethora of books that she wrote all by herself. She is an entrepreneur. She is a motivational speaker. She is a survivor. She is the CEO of Create and Blossom Literary Studios. My girl, Kennisha Griffin, is finally here on The Public Affair. Hello.
Hello, man.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, my friend.
I'm digging the braids. It's giving Brandy 90s.
I'm feeling like Brandy.
Sitting up in my room.
You know, up in my room.
No, it's so great to have you here, Kennisha, because you want to know what? Like I said earlier, a lot of people, you know, have reached out to me wanting to be on the show, and I never felt like the time was right with us. You know what I mean? And shout out to Danny Stone, who she sent me. You grew up, you glowed up so much, you had a media kit, and she emailed me the media kit. Yeah, and I got to reading it. You know, I finally had a chance to just sit down and just take a look at it. And there's a lot to you that I would have never thought. And I really hope you guys, honestly, like all jokes aside, while we're drinking the Snoop Dogg wine and we're making other jokes, Kennisha has really been through a lot of things that a lot of people find difficult to talk about. Yeah. And I hope that specifically the women, but everybody watching this show today, if they are going or have been through what you went through, which we'll get to here in a second, can find a way of redemption, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. What do you say about that?
Absolutely. You know, if anything, I hope that when I share any, you know, pieces of my story, I know that there are several different things that have happened over the course of time. And you know how sometime in life you'd be like, it's one thing after another.
Girl, yes.
You know, life just be lifing sometimes.
Please, right now. Don't get me started.
Like, there's one trial after another, one challenge after another, one obstacle after another. So if anything, I hope that people take away the, learn, I guess, from my resilience, my faith, my hope, and my desire to help other people heal too and get better. Because at the end of the day, I think I realized that all of that is, for me, is to help other people too.
Sure. And I'm here for it, Kennisha. I'm here. So let's not even waste any time. Your life growing up. Can you talk to us a little bit about, well, first of all, introduce yourself. Everybody's like, Andrew, who is this? And I love the smile, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
The smile's giving. Can you just introduce yourself to anybody who's like, Andrew, who is Kennisha Griffin? And who is this woman on the show? Pretty in pink, with the books everywhere.
Thank you. Okay, so I am actually from New Orleans, Louisiana. So I love to start there.
Like my girl, Nika.
Yes. I am a NOLA girl, New Orleans 504 girl, whatever you like, hot girl, whatever you like to call it. From New Orleans, born and raised, so deep in the heart of the city. Public school systems, graduated from one of the best schools, we like to say, in New Orleans, McDonald 35 Senior High. But that was my life. You know, I lived in that kind of city. And if you've ever been in New Orleans, you know, New Orleans is a fun party town, busy, always just full of tourists and tourist things. But I lived in the hood, in the midst of the tourists had their section, and then I had my section. Probably
the part of New Orleans that people don't really see.
Exactly.
They think Bourbon Street, shots, strip clubs, you know. But we're not getting to see where you're from.
We're not. Yeah, not quite. You know, that part of New Orleans, and I love and miss my city so much. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually thought when I came to Waco that to me, Waco was about as small in the sense of New Orleans, though New Orleans is super overpopulated. I think, too. So small in that I feel like you can get to most places in about 15 minutes, maybe, right? So it's not like Dallas or Houston or Atlanta, you know? Listen, traffic. No, right? You know, we don't have to deal with those things. And in New Orleans, it was very similar. I could get to where I needed to get quickly. But yeah, just grew up in that and in that area. I actually lived in Atlanta, Georgia for a few years. So went through some interesting life experiences when I lived in Georgia. We'll probably get into some of that. And then came back to New Orleans because Atlanta kind of kicked me in the butt, if you know what I mean. It kind of did. So I moved back. And then actually ended up in Texas by way of Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Yes. Hurricane Katrina just had its 19th anniversary. And the city is still not the same
No, I'm sure. And you know, just fun fact, I lived in Hialeah, Florida when Katrina hit. But we got Category 1. Like, it was nothing compared to New Orleans. So, I mean, shout out to you, you know, for surviving. And my heart goes out to you. I do, Kennisha, want to jump right into some of the childhood traumas that you have went through. And before we do, some of them are pretty explicit. And I do want to make sure that you acknowledge that you are in a place of we are not judging.
Sure.
I want you to be comfortable. And share what you want, please. But when I was reading through your media kit, I read something along the lines of sexual assault or sexual abuse, which makes my skin crawl even to say. And I first, before we continue with that conversation, want to apologize that that's something that you had to experience in your life.
Thank you.
Because I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that?
We can, yes. Okay. And it's funny that we have some of my books out because... you know, and I know we'll talk about what I get to do with Create and Blossom. A big part of that is helping other people tell their stories. I often meet with writers who struggle with telling certain parts of their stories because it's just too hard. Yeah. And I actually am one of those writers, too. Okay. I have been working on trying to tell this part of my own story for a long time. A long time.
Welcome to the public affair.
You know?
Yeah.
To just try to communicate it. Because when you are going through the writing stage, you're almost reliving as you're recounting and you're feeling again. It you know, makes all those emotions come back up. Okay. So there are two different events that actually took place in my life. One when I was 12 years old, and one happened when I was 19. The one that happened when I was 12, which I don't even think I got into much detail yet. Okay. So this will be the first time I ever did that. Okay. It's a big step for me. So
thank you for sharing. And truly, my heart,
Man, so when I was about 12 years old, there was a boy in school that liked to follow me around all the time and try to tickle me. Just like, you know how you just tickling somebody, playing with them, catch them,
little
tickle them,
stuff,
and just, little kid stuff like that. Well, he would do it so much to where it would have me on the floor. Like, he would have me on the floor squirming. Now, he was a big guy, and I'm a little girl, right?
Was he significantly older than you?
No, we were the same age.
Grade. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we were in the same grade, and he was just a lot bigger, taller and bigger than me, and I was just tiny little bitty thing. And it was always hard for me to get away from him. And I will never forget this one time, and this was going on for most of like my 7th grade. I think it was about my 7th or 8th grade year. Okay. Well, anyway, one time, I remember several of my friends. I was walking down a hallway at the end of the hall, and he was coming like up the stairs as I was getting ready to go down the stairs, and we were like on the 3rd floor in the stairwell area. And I'll never forget, the window was open, and I can look down and see some of my friends. In fact, I was just looking at some of my friends. They were with like the garden club or the horticulture club, I think that's what it's called. So they were down there, and I seen him come up the stairs, and I immediately tried to run. So he would torture me so much with just tickling me that it would, every time I see him, I'd get scared. Okay. And so much so that I even had other friends. Like, I'll never forget, there was this Hispanic guy, boy in my school, that was also really big too, and he would be like, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to keep you safe, I'm not going to let this guy get you. I would be looking for, I cannot think of his name, I would be looking for this guy to protect me because I always felt like the other guy was always trying to harass me, and capture me. It just wasn't funny anymore. The tickling and the playing and all that stuff, when somebody says stop,
that's it.
Stop. Sure. They've had enough, but he just would not stop leaving me alone. And so he would capture me, he would tickle me even harder to where I'm like crying and squirming on the floor, and then eventually just let me loose and then I run off. Well, this one particular time, he actually caught me. Nobody was there on the edge, on the back of the stairwell where we were, and he cornered me. And then, again, the window was open. So I remember him lifting me up, and he was, again, really big, so he could overpower me. I remember him lifting me up, and somehow or another, I ended up hanging halfway out of the window, 3 flights up.
Oh, my God.
With him groping me, having his hands, all over me in all kind of places. Sure. Again, the window is, I am hanging, like, upside down. unable to like move and get in. I thought I was gonna die.
Okay.
Like I literally was like, this must be it. You know, this must be the end for me. And so then somebody else ended up coming up the stairs. So then when he released me, I didn't fall outside. To kind of pulled me back in and released me to the floor, and then he ran off. And then there I was. And what I didn't realize, like I suffered with things like nightmares. I didn't know why. Like, I'm a little kid, so I don't know why I keep having these bad nightmares. I don't know why I can't sleep. I feel anxious and nervous all the time. While I'm dealing with all of these like PTSD, you know, symptoms, I keep wondering, you know, being more afraid than anything. I feel like before that time in my life, I was just this carefree, happy girl. And until you know,
that event took place.
Until that happened. And
did he get away with that?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, so nothing ever happened. Did you ever say anything, Kennisha?
I think I was probably too afraid to say anything at the time. Okay. And I think also because I was also in my family, I'm the middle child.
Oh,
I was the middle child. Okay. So I had the middle child. Everything I did at that time as a preteen, I felt like most of what I did was wrong. Yeah. I was the one always in trouble, the black sheep that went in my own way, that did my own thing. I was not like my brother. My brother went to the Marine Corps. He was the good boy. He passed away 10 years this year. But my brother was the good boy, and my little sister, you know, she was the good one. She was the baby. You know, baby could get away with anything.
But so this, and you know, we talk about sexual assault, and it really can be, you know, it can be a family member. It could be somebody that you're just in middle school with, for that matter. You know what I mean? And so was it just this one time that it actually got that far? Or did it end up become like a recurring thing?
After that one time, that was it. Like, I didn't run into another experience with that boy, but I do remember feeling so much fear. I remember telling one of my youth leaders back in the day at church, like, I keep having this weird feeling like that something bad is going to happen, that something else bad. Like, I just lived in fear, you know. And I had to catch the bus in New Orleans to school every day. Sure, you know, I was in the hood, drive-by shootings happening all the time around me. You know, drug dealers all around me all the time. You know, that was my life.
Right.
But I was fine with it.
But you were normalized to that, though.
You know,
you were normalized to that. But what you weren't normalized to, I think it's fair to say, was this boy groping you.
Some kind of attack. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Did you ever confront him?
I think I seen him one time, like years later, you know, like at school. I didn't. I just avoided him. Okay. So I think I was just too afraid to see him again after that. And so I pulled back. I just always went in a different direction, always stayed. I didn't go to one side of the school. I just avoided him completely.
Did it change your behavior and how you were as a kid growing up? I mean, because you didn't tell anybody. You didn't tell like your parents.
I could not tell my parents.
You couldn't tell nobody. But did you start acting out then? Would you say that it made you start acting out?
I think it definitely changed my behavior. I think it made me more isolated. Okay. It made me isolate. Okay. It made me isolate more. I think it probably also made me more angry. And not even understanding why I'm so angry, like upset at what happened. But I also wasn't getting along with my parents back then. Okay. So then it really is like, nobody cares. I can't trust anybody to tell them this because everything I do is wrong. Yeah, I just wrestled with suicidal thoughts and just all of that stuff, like as a young girl. Yeah. So that was awful. But then when you fast forward a little bit later, you know, some years later, when I was 19.
Because you were 13 when 12 or 13 when that happened. So now we're going to 19.
So now we're 19 years old. And this story is I was interviewing with the CIA. And so, that's a part of my story.
Okay. No, I had this direction of where the story is going to go, and I hope it's not going to go there. But you were interviewing with the CIA.
I was interviewing with the CIA at the time. And that's a funny story that maybe I'll get into the whole thing with you soon. But they found me because I applied for a job like a couple of years prior. And they finally got to my application, contacted me at my job's work email when I was living in Atlanta, which who else can do that but the CIA, right? So they found me. And I was going through the entire process. I even had a conditional offer with the position. They even flew me to Virginia to interview with them at their buildings and everything. So it was a very cool, amazing experience, actually. Right. But they had to contact everybody in my past from the past 7 years. Everybody. And I was dating this one guy, and we had broke up.
Yeah.
Anyway, they contacted this guy because they had to do an investigation on like everybody in my past from my past 7 years. And so they interviewed him. He reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm having a family get together. Everybody in my family misses you. Would love for you to come over to my new house, whatever. So I was reluctant at first, like, no, I mean, we broke up for all them years. I probably, shouldn't, whatever. But I ended up going.
And it was a significant amount of years, too, though. It wasn't just like some months. Like, no, okay.
This was some time, like a long time had passed. And this guy, because they got in touch with him about me, he reached back out to me to try to connect again. So I ended up going to his house. And I remember that he had like all these bottles of wine, which is like all across his, and I didn't want to drink and purposely because I was like, I really just want to say hi to everybody and just leave. I don't want to just, be here because we're not cool, anymore really, right? So why would I even be here? But I stayed anyway. Didn't drink anything. Said hello. Was socializing with his family for a little while because we were in a relationship for about a year, so I knew them, a bit. So it was nice to see them. After everybody left, he ended up say, "Hey, let me give you a tour of my house." And so I was like, I don't know. It's getting kind of late. I might want to go.
Yeah.
He insisted, and it was something about how he locked the door when everybody left after I said yes, that gives me the chills, like still. Like when he locked that door, I knew something was wrong. Like, why would you lock your door like that, yo? Like that felt like something out of a movie, something crazy. Sure. He just locked that door real hard and it was like, okay, let me show you upstairs. So he started showing me his studio. He was a musician who had a studio upstairs and he was showing me the other rooms. When we got to one bedroom in his house, upstairs, that's when he closed the door behind himself, locked the door, and locked me in. And there were certain objects, I've been to therapy and I talked to counselors about this so many times. And I keep remembering certain things that were like in the room. Like at the time I remembered an ironing board. For some reason, I just remember an ironing board standing up over here by his closet that was by a window. And I was like, well, where do you, just looking around, just checking things out that was in the room, really feeling very uncomfortable, knowing that there's no reason I should be locked in this room with you. But he obviously had plans, and it was definitely, my worst nightmare at the time. He locked the door, he shoved me to the ground, and he raped me.
So he raped you?
He did, yeah.
Wow.
And he raped me. And it was almost, the things that he was saying, I recall, was almost like it was punishment for us not being together anymore. It was weird.
Oh, wow.
He was even saying like really mean, evil, awful things, you know.
Sure.
It was super, and I fought him and fought, and I just wasn't strong enough, I suppose.
And so eventually it just happens. Kennisha, I am so sorry to hear. Oh my God. Have you spoke with him?
No.
Do you find almost like an obligation to yourself to confront these individuals that have like almost left their mark on your life? No. Not me. Okay.
I think sometimes I wonder, like, if I saw this guy again, what would I say? What would I do?
Sure. I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean? Same with the other one because, and actually this was really funny because I'm friends with a lot of my classmates on Facebook. And I actually ran into this guy's profile. Just to see a picture of him was just too much.
This is that's just the guy from
middle. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Was just too much because I had nightmares about this guy's
To this day.
Like nightmares.
Wow.
What a lot of people don't realize, and I can't speak for all women. I know I have listened to so many women tell me their own stories about being raped and assaulted and violently with weapons involved and all of that. And it all affects us so differently, but there's an after effect of it. It's not just, hey, I've been through this thing, all right, I've been in therapy for a year and a half. I'm good.
No, yeah.
No.
It sounds like it still lingers to this day. Almost.
I still have nightmares. I still have bad triggers. It's definitely still have bad triggers. I still, and I think now with having been in therapy before that I can identify what those things are, but I think I still have to be careful of certain things. For example, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
I went to a human trafficking course.
Mm-hmm.
I have participated. I have some friends. I don't know if you've ever heard of Sheepdog Response before, but they are an organization that's out of Austin, and they do firearms training, jujitsu, things like that. Yeah. Amazing organization. They have a Protector One course for women. I actually did a Protector One course twice. I also love to go shooting in my downtime, so I love to go to the range. And I was always curious about jujitsu, but I was nervous about it because I know that certain positions, because of what the situation was like when I was 19, might trigger me badly. And I will never forget being in there at one of those classes, and it was a lady who was a black belt, martial arts instructor. Sure. She was just standing over me in this one position, and I had to try to break out of it. And when I tell you, I bust out crying in that moment. That was like several months ago.
Because you were
in that
triggered.
moment,
Were you triggered?
Yes. Yeah. And then sometimes when those triggers happen, somehow it puts your mind right back there again. Yeah. So I felt like I was right back in that place. I had to snap out of it and realize I wasn't there. I was here. You know what I mean? Or there. But when I went to the sexual assault, the human trafficking or sex trafficking class that was in Austin, it was actually there at Sheepdog. And I'm good friends with one of the detectives that was also hosting it. And I was sitting there and I'm listening to a couple of the survivors tell their stories about, that'll blow your mind away, man. Some of the things. And that's just crazy. But what was even crazier for me is that I could identify with a lot of what they were saying. Yeah. A lot of what they were experiencing. I was like, me too. Wow. What?
And it's almost like a nuanced question or a weird question, but you mentioned that you never confronted your attackers, right? Do you think, looking back at it now, do you find it necessary to do so to move on? Or do you, if another woman was to confront you about it, do you know what I mean? Or do you think that that's unnecessary? Well, because, not by no means to solidify what they did, because it's wrong, but you kind of look at things into what was going on, what happened to them in their lives. Do you know what I mean? And was something going on with you, or are you just really evil? It's an evil thing to do. I mean, is that fair to say? I don't want to,
Yeah, no. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. Because I think, and we're all not born to just, inherently. Well, I don't know, and maybe some of us are.
I mean, because it exists so much, and people don't speak out about it. But the thing is, too, that they hold this grasp on you guys as victims, right? Yeah. I feel, I've talked to plenty of people that have been sexually assaulted, in their childhood and stuff like that. Yeah. And they hold this grasp to you guys. To silence you. It's almost as if they have power over you in your life, leading to. How do you find the power to forgive, which we're going to talk about when we get right back here on The Public Affairs, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Public Affair. My very special guest, Ms. Kennisha Griffin. Now, before we continue, I definitely want to use this opportunity to give a shout out to just a few more of our sponsors of this episode of The Public Affair. This episode is brought to us by Banda's Hauling Service with Julian and Ana Banda. That's right, they don't dump trailers. You fill it up, they're going to haul it away. They also do junk removals, they do tree brush removals, they haul cars in and out of town. If the car breaks down out of nowhere, just call Banda's Hauling Service. They'll come get you no matter where it's at, no matter what time at night. They got you. Oh, and I know you guys like to have those big, giant, indigenous Mexican parties, / Mexican parties, where there's trash everywhere. Make sure you guys call Banda's Hauling Service for the dumpster rental. Please do so with the number on the screen, all right? You book now with the number on the screen. Julian Anabanda, thank you guys so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to Pollo Box and Audio, my boy Jeffrey Montreal, home for all your LED needs, auto accessories, installation of stereos, door speakers, and audio systems. He also specializes in building custom software enclosures and much more. Now, Kennisha, I don't live in the hood, but I got the base because of, I got the base with the Britney Spears because of Pollo Box and Audio. Your one-stop shop to get everything done and run roof. Make sure you guys hit him up for all your car modifications. To Jeffrey Montreal, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to Myra Rosadas with Strike a Post Photography, a digital photo booth business, perfect for parties, private events, corporate events, and so much more. Kennisha, if you need a photographer, if you're just seeking a new photographer, hit up my girl Myra Rosadas. She's up and coming and she's the GOAT. Okay, yes, I don't want nobody sleeping on her. She is doing the damn thing. She's also offering digital customized invitations as well. Baby showers, birthday parties, weddings, whatever. Don't mail invitations. Ew, this is not 2000. Just get digital invitations. Strike a Post Photography. Se habla español también. To my girl Myra Rosadas. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. And of course, the Brothers Roofing and Remodeling with Jesus Sanchez from Mart, Texas. Listen, he's a small construction business from Mart, specializing in general roofing needs and so much more. He will also help you protect your home from the crazy. Listen, it's giving storms all of a sudden. Like, we're in September, it's giving storms. I'm not dealing with this. Tornadoes. Okay, Twister. All right, the movie Twister. Okay, Rotten Tomatoes, 100%. But he's going to come help you. And of course, with all the remodeling as well. He's totally the go. To Jesus Sanchez, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. And I can't go on without thanking Soko. So I'm just so grateful to be partnered with Soko Soccer Academy, Dominic Gutierrez and Ariana Gutierrez. They offer team, small group, and individual skills training. Soko Kids is one of the most prestigious, one of the most sought after, one of the best childcare services in Central Texas, keeping your kids active, keeping them social, keeping them just really engaged. And I'm so proud of Soko and everything that they're doing. To Dominic Gutierrez, Ariana Gutierrez, thank you guys so much for all the support that you give me in the show. If you guys need individual skills training with professionals, hit up my boy George DeLeon as well. And of course, The Public Affair remains a very proud sponsor of the Soko soccer teams. I want to give a huge shout out to my brother, Coach Mauro Maldonado, Coach Megan, Coach Jeff Knapp. You guys truly are the GOATs, and I'm just so proud of you and everything that you guys are doing for the kids. Truly, truly, truly keep up the good work. To Soko Soccer Academy, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. All right, guys. So like I said, before I abruptly took a break, because I had to get myself together. It was, and I really want to thank you for sharing what you've shared so far, because I definitely think it gives a lot of context to who you are today. You know what I mean? Yes. And we talked right before the break about forgiveness, and we talked about part of the reason why you forgive people is so that they don't have power over you. Okay, and these people that abuse you or abuse these people or anybody for that matter, almost would seem as if they have power over you to keep you silenced. How do you find forgiveness, and have you, for them? I have, and with that forgiveness, well, first of all, I'm a person that I believe in God, and I fully believe in the Bible, and I fully believe that we are to forgive one another like the Lord has forgiven us. And yes, I actually do think about what could have happened to this guy to make him think that something like this was okay. And in some cases, attackers may have also been abused, or may have also dealt with, their own things in their past, or may have had awful examples in front of them. I've always been the kind of person to think about like every angle in situations. And it's so strong for you to think that way too, though. It has to be, especially given what you've gone through, Kennisha. It's just.
I don't think I could help it. I think because of stories, and I think we all have a story. That's a part of mine, unfortunately, that I have carried and still work through to this day. Even being in some marriages with some questionable situations as well.
Yeah.
I have struggled, Andrew, more than I'd like to say.
That's okay. We can move on if needed be. Okay. The Snoop Dogg wine is getting to her. She was about to start talking about other stuff.
I'm trying real hard.
But the forgiveness comes from your faith in Christ.
It comes,
and the way he moves. And just, one of the other things that you really went through, Kennisha, that a lot of women will go through, and that's hard for you, miscarriages. 5 miscarriages. Now, you have 7 kids now.
I do.
Which, God bless.
Yes.
I don't even have one. I can't imagine going home and asking something if it's hungry, much less 7 things if they're hungry. Okay. So, but no. But on a serious note, a lot of women watching this will maybe have spent years trying to have a child. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And some ultimately being told, you can't have kids naturally. You're going through constant mess. Can we talk a little bit about that and your experience on that?
Absolutely. And I wish I had one of those books with me. I was looking through my collection.
You have a plethora of books here, by the way.
I know.
Congratulations to you on all these books.
Oh, man, thank you.
Yes, which we'll get into in a sec. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, but miscarriage is also a part of my journey. You know what this reminds me of? Who was it? Gabrielle Union wrote a book. I think it was called "We're Gonna Need More Wine."
Ooh, girl.
And listen.
Shout out to Joseph Hester with the business.
Joseph, we thank you.
And Joseph's so hot, too, but he has a wife. So. He does. He has a wife. I said I'm not doing married men in 2024. And I stuck with that. Okay?
Listen,
anyway.
Joseph is amazing. He is so great. I still have your bottle of wine, Joe. So I thank you.
And the three of us are excuse me, shining clients at Elite Barbershop. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Elite Barbershop. The three of us go to Elite Barbershop.
Listen.
Yes, girl, don't play with me.
Love them, okay? They are all my brothers.
Love them.
All of them for a long time now.
That's why he's so hot, because he goes to Elite Barbershop. Okay, I'm sorry.
I didn't know he was a client.
He does. He goes. I didn't know either until I was here.
There we go. All right. See?
I didn't know he had a podcast, so he messaged me and said, come on my podcast. And I love him. I do. He's so great. No, he's Joseph amazing. You're amazing. And thank you for even having me on your show soon. But miscarriages. You had to experience that in your life.
I experienced that in my life, unfortunately. So just to go through, to walk a little bit through that story, I was working in higher education.
Sure.
This was before I became an author, before I started with books.
Okay.
I was living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I actually had found out I was pregnant before I got married. Mm-hmm. And this is when, after Hurricane Katrina. So when Hurricane Katrina happened, just kind of walk through that timeline.
Yeah.
Hurricane Katrina happened. I evacuated from New Orleans to Dallas. I was engaged to be married at the time to my first husband.
Sure.
And we were planning a wedding in the Botanical Gardens in New Orleans. We were planning this big old wedding, this beautiful big thing that happened. But then the storm happened, and I ended up evacuating to Dallas. Instead, we ended up having a very small wedding, and we actually ended up getting married a lot sooner than what we had planned.
Okay.
Because I found out I was pregnant.
Sure. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Found out I was pregnant. But unfortunately, I got married. And then this was one of those early losses. And so this is what the miscarriages looked like for me in the beginning. Well, some of them were. So I will never forget going to the doctor. You go to the doctor, you have your sonogram, right? They check do the ultrasound. They check for the heartbeat. They check for the measurements of the baby and all that. The first time I went, you could see a heartbeat, about maybe 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Pregnant. You could see the heartbeat. It was all just fine. So I'm like, all right, everything's good. I'm still nauseous. I'm just, trying to figure out my life. First time being pregnant. Had another visit. Ended up coming back again. And this time there was no heartbeat. So then it was like, well, what do you mean there's no heartbeat? It was just one there a few weeks ago and everything was fine. So what do you mean that there's nothing there? Again, he's like, we'll check it again, in a few days or whatever. And so we ended up checking again. It definitely confirmed that I had lost a baby.
Wow.
And in that first instance, I actually had to take some medication to let the baby release.
Sure.
In other words, from me at home. And I remember it being extremely painful, like having really bad contractions at home, like on my way home, and just suffered and suffered and suffered. And I actually described that entire experience in that scene in the book that I wrote, because I wrote a book, Once Upon a Child, that talks about my miscarriages.
And you said we don't have that book
and I
here.
don't have that one.
You guys go pick up Once Upon a Child.
It's available online. But yeah, and I talked about that, just what that felt like, okay, so I lost a baby, and then I found out I was pregnant again, like several months later, and then the same thing happened again.
Oh, my God.
And this time I was just a little bit further along.
Sure.
So then it was like, well, why? My doctor, shout out to Dr. Roderick Diggs. This man he's like the best OBGYN. I am telling you, so good at what he does, so caring. He let me, I will never forget, crying in his office on the floor, weeping, just like, what's wrong with me?
Sure.
Why can't I keep a baby, after the second time?
As if you haven't been through enough trauma in your life at that point either.
You know,
And it's like, damn, one thing after another.
I was already
cow,
right, just hoping for something, some kind of love, and something for me that I could love and have, and I felt like that was just a thing taken away from me too. And so, yeah, that was really hard. But anyway, I found out that I was pregnant with my oldest. Well, but before then, my doctor decided to aggressively look at everything. And I didn't really have to speak up a lot. What I usually encourage a lot of women to do is, if you have questions medically, like, do your homework, reach out to your doctors, ask for more tests, ask for another ultrasound, ask for, more things, so that, you really do have the control over your health. So dig into that. Don't just, because some doctors really won't go that far. I just happen to have a good doctor who was willing to, let's throw the textbook at it and figure out what's wrong with you.
Okay, gotcha.
And we learned from there that I had some kind of blood clotting disorder. And every time I'd get pregnant, blood clots would attack my uterus, and would unfortunately attack the baby. So because of that, I had to take what they call heparin injections, which is what is it, like a blood thinner?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I had to get on. I had to take shots in my stomach every day for 9 months.
Wow.
For each kid.
Wow.
And even though we had a theory of what was happening, I still had 3 other miscarriages. One, I remember being, 2 actually, remember being very early, like right after I found out I was pregnant. And then, I lost a baby, and at home, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then I had a second trimester loss where baby tummy was big, baby was kicking, moving, growing, all is well. And then I suddenly, started bleeding out of nowhere, and then had to go to the hospital. And they were like,
Do you have any messages for women who are going through that and are getting a little bit discouraged? Or, I know that I know of one particular person that went through several miscarriages and had almost found herself in a position of blaming her boyfriend or husband at the time. Like, I can't ever give you kids. What do you say to women that are going through something like that?
I think it's really hard for us to remove guilt and shame, and also for us to it's hard to not be able to pinpoint exactly what it is. And so it's easy to find or maybe try to place that blame on something or somebody else. I think in life in general, sometimes we just don't understand why the hell we're going through this stuff. And, one thing I realized, I think a long time ago, is we may not always have the answers right now. We may not know. And unfortunately, we have to lean into not knowing that it's okay to not know all of the answers, but how do we continue to move forward and move on despite not knowing, which is a very hard thing to do, which I completely understand how hard that is.
Yeah, for sure.
And trust me, there are lots and lots of questions I have about life that I wish I had answers to.
Kennisha, girl, I think it's fair to say, earlier in the episode, I mentioned that you're a warrior and you've been through so much shit in your life. And just kudos to you for, because we meet you now and, you're such a light in a lot of people's lives that you encounter, you know what I mean? And you're such a great spirit and you're always fun to talk to. And you're, you find you're just like this. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're like this. There's light in our life, for lack of a better term, which leads me to, you're an author and you're a motivational speaker and, you write about your experiences and we talk about Once Upon a Child, which you guys can go find on Amazon and anywhere you can pretty much find books. You know what I mean? You're also writing books for children.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have the book. We have Maddie and Zoe.
Yes.
Right. And this comes out in October.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so this is going to be your new book. And then, of course, we have, other books like, I Turned My Mom Into a Robot, which I definitely want to read. Yes. Creating by Faith. All these books that you have. What gave you the courage to start writing about your experiences?
That's a good question.
To share with people. Yeah.
Man, that's a good question, Andrew. I think that I think, and I'm gonna try not to cry on this one here, man.
You can cry if you want to, girl, because I've been trying not to cry neither. And the Snoop Dogg wine is not helping.
It is not helping
Joseph.
right now.
Okay.
You know, Joe, come on, man. Okay.
Come on, man. Yeah. DMs. Did that get? Oh, I meant to.
I can't. Oh my gosh! But you know what's been important to me though. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to sit in a place of unknowing, wrestling.
Let it out, girl. You good?
Really, I know.
Yeah,
It's okay. I'm trying to think about what I
can smear the pink makeup. You good?
You know,
let yourself. You're good. You're good.
Am I right? I know what it's like being in that really hard place, man.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Andrew, I can't tell you how many times I've sat in my closet, just sitting in my closet, just like hurting and crying and not understanding and feeling hopeless and wrestling with doubt and crying and trying to pray and can't think of the words to come out, you know, that words that I think would even matter. I remember, feeling that way. Feeling lonely because I went through 5 miscarriages, but I went through them mostly by myself.
Oh my God.
Without a large community around me.
Oh my God.
And then had other people leaning on me to help them when I had to deal with it by myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Divorce,
like what made you equipped to do that?
Divorce, man, by myself. You know, blamed for my divorce, you know, with my ex-husband. Struggled, you know what I mean? Struggled with in the people department, you know,
Do you think a lot of your past experiences may have contributed when you look at it now, or do you know, so like you mentioned being blamed for your divorce, you know what I mean? And you know, we're pointing fingers and but like, do you think a lot of your past experiences may contribute to the Kennisha that we don't see on camera, that's being highlighted like on KWTX, that's like, you know, writing the books and, you know, there's the spotlight on you because at the end of the day, all of us have those skeletons in our closet for the most part. Do you know what I mean? All of us have that way about us that we don't present to the world. Like my two best friends, shout out to Jaime Gutierrez and Coach Mauro Maldonado, have been the only 2 men that have ever seen me break down and sob cry and know about what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of your past experiences maybe hinder your ability to be in a successful marriage and stuff like that? And I hope that question doesn't come off disrespectful because, you know, I have the utmost love and respect for you.
Oh, no. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't at all. I think that, I think the past and the work that I think is still needed in my life. I'm like the last person to like deny that.
Sure.
More therapy would probably be really helpful for me. I think I was watching something on TV. I think it could have been last night where someone was says, I've been in therapy for like 20 years, you know, like, you know, and I'm like, I probably should have been in therapy. Because you know, who knew? And here's the thing though, man, like I done sat and like talked to my mom. You think my story is something, yo? You need to hear my mama's story.
Girl, part two coming. Okay, we're gonna. Me and Anika are going to Louisiana, and we're gonna go pick up your mom. But first, we're gonna stop for some etouffee. Okay, we're gonna stop for some crawfish.
You know, the reason I got into writing, just circling a little bit back to that question, is because when I was a little girl, I will never forget, like I was the one who always loved writing. I loved creating stories for other people. And I loved how I did it for my mom. Speaking of her, I would make up these little stories for Mother's Day, and you know what I mean? And I would give that to her for her present, and she loved it. And I was this little kid, this innocent little kid, watching how something I wrote just like made her happy.
Right, okay.
And you know, like small, right? That's small and little, but that was so impactful to me. And I was like, you could really brighten somebody's day just by something nice you say to them, or just by a gift of words, you know, a poem or something that you wrote to them to make them feel better. So that stuck with me and carried with me over the years. And so when I finally jumped into the writing industry, I was working in higher education. I had a couple of miscarriages, but this time I found out I was pregnant with my oldest son, and my doctor put me on bed rest at home. It was like, no work for you. You stay home after what you've been through. You need to stay home and be pregnant, and I was like, you don't really know me. I'm type A. I need to be doing something with my life. Okay. What am I supposed to do? Same. I can't just sit in the bed.
I love trying to act like I'm going to be at home all day in bed, but here I am at 4 in the morning, 2-mile run. Don't play with me.
You know what I mean? Listen, I got to be doing something. I can't just be in bed. That's not going to work for me. But I ended up picking up writing again.
So you started writing. Okay.
I got back into writing.
Yeah.
Dove into the industry, met a lot of great people, ended up going into some industries and learned
an accomplished collection,
much.
Girl. Yes.
Yeah, that book right there you're holding is actually something I made for students at my class.
Create and Blossom.
MCC. Yeah, it's what I titled it. It's all about publishing.
I got to take one of these books to the house. Don't play with me.
I know.
And let me tell you guys something. Kennisha is a whole queen. Don't play with her. Okay, she don't care what she's been through in life. One thing about her is she's gonna get on that. I bet that camera hate to see her coming. Okay? Don't play with her. Okay? She ain't kidding. No, but you have an established collection of books, Kennisha. And do you think that writing about your experiences and sharing it with the world and the people that read through it, do you think that it's almost like a therapeutic outlet for you?
Yes.
For what you've been through?
It is. It is. It is so good for me. And so not only have I realized that for myself, but I've seen it for other people. So I get to help other people write their books too. That's a part of what I get to do at Create and Blossom. And in fact, I just recently I'm currently working on a book project for a nonprofit organization that helps veterans and first responders. So I know my story sounds crazy, but when I sit and listen to other people do it, for some reason, it's like, they feel so comfortable just sharing all these details about war and about all this other tragedy and things that they have seen in their own lives. And I get to help them, write that down, for others to be able to read it.
So you help people. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually serve as a writer. And so I would say maybe ghostwriter, but I love to coach other people to help them write their books.
Rappers, while y'all be in my DMs.
See?
Get with Kennisha, girl. I'm so tired of y'all in my DMs talking about, can you play my rap song on the public radio? Get with Kennisha, because I heard some of them rap songs. And a few of you can use a ghostwriter too. Okay? She'll give you the credit.
I'm going to help you up. I'm going to hook you up.
Kennisha, what's your favorite book that you've written so far?
Oh, man. Honestly, I love my children's books. Of course, I'm biased. I love them all. I need to get that one there. Natty and Zoe's one. Yes.
This one comes out. But are you just saying that because it comes out in October? You're trying to plug it in, girl?
Okay. But I'm going to do a little plug.
I want you to give this to my best friend and his wife because they're having a baby soon, please. Oh, yes. Will you sign it for him? I'll buy it from you.
Yes, of course.
I see that it's $9.99 United States dollars. Girl, I'll cash app you $11.25. Please. No, but okay. No, honestly, your favorite book that you've written would be.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I think Once Upon a Child is one of my favorites.
Okay. Was that one of the first ones you were in?
It is actually one of the first ones.
Gotcha.
It could be the second that I actually wrote and published.
Yeah.
I think. Yes, because that was the one. And actually, I went back and revised it to add, because after I had a few miscarriages, I actually had another one, which is the second trimester loss. So I went back and added that story to the book. Yeah. So just because I know how impactful that has been.
Got
and I have had a lot of people I know that unfortunately went through it and looked to me for guidance and for support. And that's why I decided to share my story so I can have an encouragement, inside, for other women that have gone through it. But I love my children's books too.
Yeah. I like that you write children's books. I do.
Yeah.
I definitely gotta get with I Turned My Mom Into a Robot. That's gotta. I feel like this book right here, because I was reading some of the reviews and stuff. That can be a book for moms and for moms.
It could be
for mothers. No, honestly, because y'all be doing the most.
Man.
You guys work a whole full-time job, then go home and have to feed something.
Listen.
Change their underwears because they crap their diaper or whatever.
God.
You know what I mean? And
you don't want to know what happened before I came here.
Oh no, I don't, girl. Please. Please don't. All my best friends have children, and I'm like, good luck to you guys.
Woo, yes.
Kennisha, I just want to give my hats off to you, for everything that you've accomplished. And regardless of the circumstances that you've been through, you mentioned coming from the hood of New Orleans, you know what I mean? The hood that we don't get to see, being raped your first time when you were 12, it's fair to say.
Well, assaulted
at 12, raped at 19. Even one time is too many.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Divorce more than once is what it sounds like. All these things that you're going through. And then you're a mother of 7 children. 7 children.
Yeah.
Girl. How
7
do you
babies.
do it? What's the secret? Is there a secret?
I don't know. No, there's no secret. To tell you the truth, I'm going to be super real. Every day we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Every day.
So what is your advice to the mother out there struggling, the woman out there struggling that's just like, I got to throw in the fucking towel. Like, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Know. Yeah, just hang in there. And honestly, that's probably one of the best pieces of advice that other moms have told me. Take it a day at a time,
right.
As you can with your kids. They're just kids, and they're trying to look to you, lean into you for your guidance, for your love, for your nurturing. And God has really given us the ability to give them the love. We're definitely equipped with it, right? So we're strong enough to be able to do it. And at times have to remember that myself, especially in times like today when there was awful things that was kind of happening at the house before I left.
Okay. Thank God I had the Snoop Dogg wine
on deck. Listen.
Kennisha,
Joseph, we thank you.
To the woman watching this podcast, to the mother watching this podcast, which book do you want them to read to help empower them?
Oh my gosh. To tell you the truth, I think Creating by Faith would be a really good book. Now, that's a small little bitty Bible study, yes. And the reason that I made that one quick. You know how Beyonce be making albums and don't say nothing and just drop them?
Kennisha couldn't sleep one night and wrote a book. Don't play with her.
It's literally how it went. It was a weekend and boom, there was a book.
Okay.
And really because a lot of my authors, are people in the faith too, and they want to tell their stories or they want to help other people get closer to God, or they're trying to do what they truly believe that they were inspired to do by God too. And so I just wanted to create a resource for them.
Yeah.
And that, I'm telling you, no matter what it is you're trying to do, even if it's a writer, then that's great. Or if you're trying to build a business or, start something new, a new hobby or a new job, school, whatever it is that you're trying to do for yourself, even just life as a mom, I'm sure there's something in that book that'll encourage you.
Okay. Now, Kennisha girl, before we go, because, we are running out of time, but I definitely want you to plug it. So we got Natty and Zoe. Now, I told you that I wanted you to sign this for my best friends, but they're having a boy. So can this be a boy book too?
Yes, of course.
It could be for a little boy.
It could be for a boy
so they can
too.
read it for story time.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I guess it's because it's pink and I'm a child of the 90s. So
I know.
so pink was for girls and blues for boys. I don't do non-binary.
Right? But my son Caleb is in there.
Oh, your son Caleb is in here. Shout out to Caleb. Okay.
He's in there.
Talk to me about your new book. What inspired Natty and Zoe, the Best Adventure Award? What inspired you to write this book and to put it out into the world and to share this part of the story? What is the story about?
Yes, so that's about my 2 daughters.
Oh, okay.
Natalina, we got her Natty. Her name is Natalina, and Zoe. And so they are 14 months apart, little girls. I think Zoe just made 6 in August, and Natty will be making 5 in October.
Sure.
When I tell you they are 2 peas in a pod, trust me, if they were here, they cannot do life without one another. They are just like little Irish twins, I suppose they call them.
Oh, okay.
They're super close together. Yeah. But they are also very different, and I just noticed that about them in real life. I'm like, one just loves to be the princess. Zoe just has to. Well, right now she's on the Wednesday kick, so she loves Wednesday Addams.
So this is Zoe, and then Natty's the one with the rain boots.
Yes.
And the overalls, outside playing outside. With the dirt.
Oh gosh, that is my girl.
I'm digging the interracial family concept.
Yes. That is yes.
Yeah,
from the time of creating the book, yeah. Yes, go see this interview like. It's your show. Look, I'm about to drink more wine. Yes. Yes, that is, yes.
So is it a story based on true events, or is it kind of like a fictional story that you wrote around your daughters?
It is a fictional story that is written around my daughter.
I got you. Okay, got you.
Yes.
I love that. Do you think that things like this would help inspire your children to become successful in the future?
Yes. You know, that is a big part of my hope. Not only that, but I'm hoping that with my company that they'll want to come on board. Like my son used to do some social media work for me. Yeah. My teenage daughter, Carissa, actually just recently asked, well, Mommy, can I come to your office and do some work for you?
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, yes, let's make this a family
She
thing.
raising employees. Don't play with her.
You know,
okay. Yes, okay.
You're okay.
Minimum wage.
But you know what, though? My kids can probably tell you how to publish a book. They have been watching me do this. Making children's books for other people over the years. Yeah. I mean, for a long time. And since they were babies, even my teenagers, since they were babies. So that's all they know. Mommy helps people make books.
I love it.
You know, they've come to me for different like workshops and things that I have taught and have spoke at. Like I take them with me. So I can be a part of it. Yeah.
Kennisha, I love it. Okay, so the book is released October
22nd.
October 22nd. We can get it on Amazon.
Yes, you can pre-order it now.
Got you. Okay, so make sure you guys head over to Amazon. Natty and Zoe is the book, October 22nd.
Yes.
Excuse me, I have the exclusive copy. I'm not sharing. Don't play with me. I'm not asking you guys to read it, okay? Kennisha, is there what's in the future for you, Kennisha?
Yeah, well, I actually have a couple of events that are coming up, so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be at the Barnes & Noble in Waco.
Yes.
And I think that is for November the 9th. If I remember correctly, November 2nd, I'll be at Barnes & Noble in Harker Heights. And then I'll be at Fable December the 4th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be doing. Yeah, I've got some events coming up around the city. So I'm excited.
And obviously more books on the way.
Definitely more books on the way.
Okay, got you.
Yes, more novels, in fact. So I haven't done a good novel in a while.
Yeah.
I do have a series of novels that I wrote, but I do have a new fantasy novel that I will be releasing. I'm hoping for next year.
I love it.
We're working on it.
Kennisha, can I just say that I think waiting 4 years to be on the public affair was definitely the right move. I think that this was the right time to do it. I want to thank you for being patient with me, under the circumstances, and not that I don't ever want you to think that I was sleeping on you. I just my gut had to tell me that it was time, and I really hope that the persons watching this episode will really find inspiration, will really find drive to keep moving forward, to achieve their dreams, to move forward from any grief, any hardships that they're dealing with in their life. And I want to thank you for being so vulnerable with me and my listeners and my viewers. And thank you so much for coming onto this podcast and trusting this platform to tell your story. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck in all your future endeavors. Truly, I do.
Oh, thank you.
So
Andrew.
thank you.
Thank you.
To everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Public Affair. My girl, Kennisha Griffin. Now, before we continue, before we leave, I'm tired. I definitely want to use this opportunity to give the shout out to just a few more of the sponsors of this episode of The Public Affair. This episode is brought to us by J. Petal and Poke with Junior Fuentes, who and his entire family, provides delicious savory Japanese crepes and poke bowls. They also have handcrafted Thai rolled ice cream for dessert. Okay, if you've never been to J. Petal, I want you to try it. It's an option that is more fresh, more healthy. Do you see what I'm saying? Especially after a good workout. If you're like me, you do a lot of workouts, and you want something that's not going to, bloat you or anything like that, high in proteins, you got to hit up J. Petal and Poke. University Parks Drive, Hewitt Drive, or you can even order on their app at J. Petal. Make sure you guys download the app. J. Petal and Poke, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, we got to give a shout out again to my boy Sid Rodriguez at Elite Barbershop. The whole team at Elite Barbershop looking like snacks, making me, Kennisha, and Joseph Hester looking like some snacks, all right? You can call the number on the screen to book, download the Squire app. Walk-ins are welcome as well. They also have Marcus Guerrero, Chris Reyes, Santos Cordova, David Rodriguez, Isaac Chavez, Cliff Fletcher, Isai Reyes, Sam Ceballos, and Kyle Berry over there making like a snack as I have for more than what episode is this? 200 something. I'm tired. Drunk. 200 something episodes of The Public Affair. To Elite Barbershop, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, the Fatboy Michelada Botana, which you're gonna need to go to Fatboy Michelada Botana, girl. Get you a nice michelada. Tell him to put extra whatever he puts in there to make it nice and drunk. Okay. Yes. Who provides the best Michelada Botana place for yourself or for a party? My boy Junior Banda is offering the best aguachiles, ceviche, chamoy candy, hot Cheeto pickle plates, and so much more. You can book now for an event, or just book for yourself. Or if you're having a big giant party, you need something to bring to the party, he'll make you a whole tray. Listen, Junior Banda is doing the damn thing. Make sure you guys get the best and not the rest. The Fatboy Michelada Botana, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. And to all my friends who are throwing an up-and-coming party, event, or more hummingbird party backdrops and decor, my girl Ana Limones is providing beautiful balloon props, giving an extra flair to your party or event. Her husband makes custom wooden backdrops as well.
Nice.
So if you guys need a wooden backdrop for the party, because wooden backdrops are in, balloon arches are in, she's got you. Okay. All decorations by my girl Ana Limona. She leaves no crumbs. She puts her entire being into all of that, and she's truly the go to Hummingbird Party backdrops and decor. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. To all of you, thank you guys again so much for tuning into this episode. I've got more on the way, of course, to Kennisha. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for bringing your books, for sharing your story with us, and best of luck to you. But you guys, don't forget always, always, always to keep it between us. That's it. That was fucked up. I'm sorry. No offense if that offended anybody. I'm just saying they handle their issues differently. I'm for the streets, as I've been told. Okay.
Yes. Gotta be careful.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support and a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.